Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. In this video, we're looking at the NFL Conference Championship picks for tomorrow. It's starting at 3 o'clock. So, one of the best football slates of the year, even though it's only two games, just the quality of games. And just both games are going to be really exciting and fun to watch. I can't wait for them. So we'll start by just kind of going over the picks that I'm looking at. I have a couple of questionable players, mainly on the Chiefs side, but we'll get to them. So as always, appreciate you guys to the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. You can follow me on Twitter at the DFS Process for updates, and all other info is in the description. So starting off here at quarterback, you have four guys to choose from. Mahomes at 76, clear concussion protocol is good to go for tomorrow night. So he's 76. He's much more expensive than all the other guys, and you have three of the best quarterbacks in the league. That's right behind Patrick Mahomes here. Josh Allen, 6,900, looks really good. I don't know why he's so cheap. He's been like awesome for fantasy this season just because he runs quite a bit and can run for a touchdown or two a game. I really like the price tag on Josh Allen. The matchup is not scary. Neither one of these teams have really difficult matchups, except for like the run defenses are pretty solid for the Tampa Bay Bucks. They have the number one run defense. But overall, I think all the four offenses should be able to put up some points here. So I don't think it really matters which guy you choose at quarterback, as long as it's kind of correlated with your wide receivers and maybe depending on who you play at running back. You can make a case for everybody, all four of these guys. My favorite is Josh Allen, just based on the price tag and the fact that he can run more than any of the other three. So that looks good for Josh Allen. The other guys I'm looking at are in the first game, Rodgers and Brady. I like Rodgers just because I don't see him getting. I think people are going to focus on the second game, so Rodgers could go a little bit overlooked here. 6,500. He also had a bad game against the Bucks, so people that look at box scores might not jump on him, but he's been so good all season and super consistent. He's also rushed for quite a bit of touchdowns this season, like 4. So does give you some upside as well. But such a good thrower, and they're gonna probably throw for a ton against this bad secondary. And then Brady looks fine as well at 6,100. This matchup is probably the toughest out of the other three guys, but he's also been on another level the second half. Ever since they had to start winning games, like week 14, basically week 12 is kind of where his hot streak started, and it hasn't really stopped. He's missing Antonio Brown here, but he still has Evans, still has Godwin, still has a bunch of other weapons. So guy that I like right now is Josh Allen, just based on price tag. And then Mahomes, if you wanted to go all the way up to him, you can, but I prefer to spend in the 6K range for my quarterback for tomorrow. Running back, you don't have a ton to choose from. Aaron Jones looks solid, even though the matchup is tough, just because they're rarely good against the ground. But Jones is the guy that will get targets out of the backfield, can catch passes. He's also going to be out there in all the goal line situations, all the goal line work with just being able to push it in inside the 5-yard line. So I do like him, even though the Bucks have a really good run defense, just because there's not too many other options at the top. You have Fournette, who looks good at 5,300. I like him, but also some risk that Ronald Jones can take some of his work. Ronald Jones last week also got quite a bit of work. He got 13 carries. Wasn't in any passing down work. So it seems like Fournette is the guy that they prefer in passing situations, as he was out there in almost all of them last week, and he had 6 targets and 5 catches. So I do like Fournette at 53. And then the second running back I have is going to be dependent on if Edwards-Helaire is in or not. If he is out, then I think you can make a strong case for Darrell Williams, because Le'Veon Bell is also questionable. And we saw Darrell Williams have a really good game last week, and Andy Reid actually ran the football a bit against the Browns, 13 carries for Williams. If Edwards-Helaire is out again, then I think he looks like a great option at 4,800. But if Edwards-Helaire's in, then I think you can go up to Aaron Jones at 65, just because I don't feel good about picking a timeshare between Edwards-Helaire and Darrell Williams. And then Singletary, no Zach Moss, but he still barely got a lot of work. Got some carries, 7 carries, but they just don't run the football, that offense. So you're going to have to hope that he can get into the end zone, and he doesn't really do that because Josh Allen likes to run them in when they're inside the 10. So he just doesn't get a ton of touchdown upside. So you might just look at like 8 to 10 touches for Singletary. It might not be enough at 4,500. So second running back is going to be dependent on the injuries in KC. The wide receivers, you have a ton at the top, and I definitely will have 2 out of the 3 at least of Adams, Hill, and Diggs. You can jam all 3 in if you want to. You also have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Both are super inexpensive, 58 and 5,400. I've always preferred Chris Godwin all season, and I think I do like him $400 cheaper, maybe Evans gives you more touchdown upside, but I also think that Evans will draw the tougher matchup here if they put Jair Alexander on Evans. So I think Godwin looks a little bit better. Godwin is a guy that just tends to get a lot of targets. Doesn't have can get into the end zone as well, but he kind of dominates the targets more. And Tom Brady has looked his way quite a bit. So I like Godwin. Evans dealing with a little bit of an injury. Last week looked fine out there, but he had a short touchdown grab, nothing else for him. But like Godwin at 5,400. John Brown also looks strong. He's 4,300. He had a 0 in the game that I played him in against the Colts. Followed it up with 8 catches, 62 yards, 14 DraftKings points. He's been pretty consistent, except for that game against the Colts. Like in the games that he has played, he's been getting good targets from Josh Allen. He can get a lot of deep targets as well. And then Gabriel Davis is another deep threat for them. He is questionable. I don't know if he played. He was limited on Friday. So if he's out, then John Brown looks even better because you'll run a lot of the deep routes that Gabriel Davis has been running and will just be out there on the field more. So I do like John Brown just because he's really cheap at 4,300. Lazard had that long touchdown grab last week. He looks fine, I think, but I prefer going with John Brown. I think it has a little bit of a safer floor, although he also has a 0 in there as he showed 2 weeks ago. But I do like John Brown more than Lazard. And then Cole Beasley had not a very good game. I think he had a 0 as well. Yeah, had a 0 last game. If Davis misses, then definitely you can go to Beasley. And then the couple of cheap guys that are really pump plays are like Scotty Miller at 34 will be the slot receiver in place with Antonio Brown out this week. You also have Sammy Watkins if he is out again. Then you can look at Hardman at 4,000. Maybe look at Robinson at 37. And then another guy that I will pay up at wide receiver, I think, is probably Davante Adams, $8,000. It's a really good spot. If Green Bay is not able to run the football effectively against this really good run defense, then you'll see Adams just kind of get a ton of targets. Probably will get like 10 plus targets like he has been getting most of the weeks this season. And I just think he looks really, really good. Aaron Rodgers did struggle mightily in the time that they played the Bucks. They got blown out by 28 points. Expect them to make some adjustments. I do expect the Packers to have a success offensively tomorrow, and it's going to start and end with Davante Adams. Tight end, it's always Travis Kelce if you can pay all the way up. If you can't, you have Gronk, who will get more targets without Antonio Brown. You have Robert Tonyan, who also looks solid as well. And then you always have Dawson Knox, I know everybody forgets about. Nobody really wants to play Dawson Knox, but then when nobody plays him, it's when he has those short touchdown receptions, which can. He's never gonna like. I don't think he'll ever have the ceiling to drop like 15 DraftKings points, but it's only 2,800. If you wanted to pay all the way up at your receiver spots, pay up at running back, could be a decent option to punt with. But I prefer Gronk, Tanyan, and Kelsey. So probably pick between them. Probably won't be able to get the Kelsey if I'm paying up for my wide receivers, unless I play a Kelsey in the flex. And then speaking of flex, I think Tyreek Hill looks to be a guy that I will like to get to as well against this Bills defense. Between him and Diggs, I think both look great. Probably just pick between one of them. I do have John Brown in here, so I think looking at Hill looks better. One hope that John Brown maybe gets into the end zone, kind of has a better game than Diggs, which is probably unlikely, but it could be possible if Brown breaks off a long one. And Hill, 7,200, gets a lot of targets. Should be a high scoring game in the second one. I think both of these games should be high scoring. So I do like Tyreek Hill. And the defenses, just pick which defense you probably have the least amount of players from in your lineup. I think all 4 defenses are kind of similar. I don't think I'll get all the way up to the Packers defense or 36. I prefer to save my salary for my wide receivers. So I won't. That's like one defense I'm not going to have. So I'll probably look at the Bucks defense or the Chiefs or the Bills. Just whichever one fits. Probably won't have the Packers. But that's it for the DraftKings side. Let's go over to Fanduel and touch on their pricing. All right, Fanduel here, quarterbacks. You have Mahomes as your most expensive option at 9,000. They're a little bit closely priced here. $300 difference to Aaron Rodgers and then $500 difference to Josh Allen. So, and Tom Brady's just sitting all the way down there at 7,800. Still like Josh Allen on both. Think it's easier to get up to Mahomes or Rodgers on FanDuel, but I'll probably be consistent with my quarterback choices on both sides. Running back, Jones is 8,000, Fournette is 72, and then you got to look and wait and see on Darrell Williams if he is going to be viable tomorrow. It's going to be dependent on Clyde Edwards-Helaire news. And then I don't really see myself going to Singletary or Jones or Jamal Williams either. So the one guy that I probably have right now is Fournette, and I wait and see on my second running back spot. A wide receiver here, Devontae Adams is definitely a guy that I will not be fading. Tomorrow at 8,900, you have Chris Godwin, who I also like quite a bit at 68. Evans is cheaper at 66, but I just think Godwin is in line to have a better game. And then John Brown is 56. He also looks pretty strong as well. Tight end, you have Travis Kelce at 86. It's easier to pay up for a tight end on Fanduel, so see if I can jam in Kelce on Fanduel. If not, then I would definitely look at like Tanyan at 57. He's my second favorite, and then third guy is Gronk. And then in the flex here, have Tyreek Hill. 8,400 is probably a guy that I'll try to get to as well. At 8,400, especially if I do find a way to get John Brown in here. But don't mind Tyreek Hill at all at 8,400 against the Bills defense. And then looking at defenses, you have the Packers are once again the most expensive defense at 44. I'll probably go cheap for like the Bucks defense or maybe the Bills. Probably go cheap on FanDuel defense just so I can pay up for my wide receivers. So pretty much it. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of similarities on this 2 game slate for people's lineups. Just try to make your best lineup. Try to make it a little bit correlated so you can kind of see a path where it kind of goes off. So that's all I can ask for. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. And best of luck tomorrow.